We as both having a strong fitness background, we need to hydrate, get water every day, eat healthy food, get proper sleep, get regular exercise. These are like our things we have to do every day, and we preach this, right? We tell everyone, hey, don't forget to hydrate. It's hot outside, but actually, what should come first is light, and the power, because the power of light, if you understand it, you know how to use it.
Right.
It's cells, it's cellular health, right? Right. So where I want to then push the conversation forward from pain management is using Lumaflex as your light vitamin.
Welcome to one more episode of Pinky J Podcast. Today I have a special guest. His name is John Graham. I'm actually in his office today because the original episode we were supposed to film, it was bad. It was virtually, yes, there was a lot of echo and I could not edit out. So John was so nice. He said, let's do it in person. He's in Miami right now. I'm in Miami. We're at the Lumaflex office.
That's it.
This is pretty cool. So John Graham, who is John Graham? John Graham is a certified master trainer, speaker, and fitness professional for 15 years. He discovered the benefits of red light therapy. So this led to Lumaflex.
Yes. Yeah, it's a long story, but I like, but again, you said I'm supposed to talk about myself, which is great. Love talking about myself.
Well, this podcast is about taboo topics, life experiences.
Yeah,
so
ups and downs.
Ups and downs. Mm-hmm. What led you to Lumaflex and being the CEO and creating this business? You were a competitor, athlete, and I'm sure you had ups and downs in life.
That's it. Yeah, a lot. So I guess where the story all starts, and it's good. It's good to be in an in-person podcast because I've got a very big speech coming up in Finland, and I'm going to be telling my story in depth. So this will give me an opportunity to kind of like pull out some of the demons, you could say, which led to where I am today. But where it all started was me as a skinny, unconfident boy with very weak joints, prone to injury. I was in a very large family, and I felt, in growing up in a large family, when you have a lot of brothers, there's lots of internal competition, can be healthy. But I wanted to build some armor, build confidence. So I discovered the gym, I discovered fitness, and I started to sort of build muscle, which of course builds confidence. And I enjoyed that experience so much, and I had such an amazing feedback from being in the gym and working out that I want to share this with the rest of the world and make people fit and have them feel like, wow, you can conquer your demons and find confidence in the gym through exercise. Doing that, I was sort of very much a yes man back in the day. I was always sort of biting off more than I could chew. I went very heavily into competitive rugby. And I remember playing very, very well. I was an exceptional player. At least that's what the coach told me. Could have just been schmoozing, but I think I overstepped a little bit, and I was a bit too confident. But I busted my shoulder on our first tour as a team, which was really you can imagine. You're out with all the boys. You're all ready to you're going to have a great tournament, you're doing well, and then you blow your shoulder. And because of, where the field was, where the tournament was held, the medics on staff, it was actually like almost 4 hours before I actually got a medical professional, a doctor, to look at my shoulder. So it was quite damaged. Mm-hmm. And that took me a couple of months to go to rehab and go back. And I remember going back onto the field and wearing a very tight brace, and I would sort of alter my strategy when it came to tackles. I was a left lock, so I was part of the forward pack, and we're supposed to do a lot of the hitting. Mm-hmm. But I was always very cautious of my shoulder. And what happened was, by being cautious of that shoulder, meant that the other shoulder popped later on in another tour. Wow. Thinking, okay, this isn't a good sport to do. I'm not clearly not good at it. Not a good way to spend your time if you're always injured. So I left rugby and I went into CrossFit.
Okay.
And CrossFit at that time was quite a it was sort of a hot thing, a popular thing that people would do.
Yeah.
You can see now on Instagram, it's expanded. You have High Rocks, you have Deca, you have these other sort of gamified fitness challenges that people participate in. And that's a lot of content coming from, in social media. But back then, social media wasn't as prominent as it was now, but CrossFit was very, very, it was like a religious cult almost,
Right.
You had to abide by their rules. It was new, it was fancy. And if you know CrossFit, it's like, it's like workouts in the gym, but then they make it like a sport where you have a leaderboard, you have scores, all of this. So it was very interesting. It was something I felt I could excel in.
It's very intense.
Yeah, and it's from the military, right? So they would have these workouts. You look at them, and it doesn't look humanly possible, right? But then you do it, and maybe you don't have the best time the first time, but then you achieve better on the next time, and you can you feel great doing it because you're looking at something very, very impossible to do, but just through grit, determination, mindset, all of that, you can. That's sort of how the cycle is. There's a challenge. There's a very strong challenge component in CrossFit, which keep people coming back to improve themselves. And then there's a very strong community part, right? That's kind of like where the fitness world took a different turn was when people were wanting more than just a big gym where I'm just one in many people. I have a membership and I do my curls. I want to be part of a community and I want to be given challenges and I want to get rewarded for those challenges. But all that to say, after I remember doing I think it was a snatch or a clean and a jerk. And I damaged my knee. And then I should have addressed it, but I didn't. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And then it got so bad to where being in a seated position like we are in right now, just having it on that 45-degree angle would hurt really. It get so inflamed, right? And I would carry around with me this deep heat cream. This, you put it on your body, it heats up, it drives circulation there. So I would rub this on my knees to help circulate the blood and to allow, to suppress the pain. Right. So I would do this for quite a number of years. It was just something that I accepted for a long time, that this was how my knee was. I was always going to have a sore knee. It just meant going on planes or being in an Uber too long was difficult. But it was just something that I was like, that's it. I've done something to my knee and I refuse to talk to a doctor. Right. But then from there, I went into boxing. And boxing was fun because it's this mando challenge, right? It's me versus you. You're trying to kill me and I'm trying to kill you. Right. And I've really thrived off that focused energy on one person rather than on a field, on a team, right? Or when you're doing CrossFit, you have your other competitors. You can have everything sort of narrowed down on one person. And he's the determining factor of your own success. I just beat him and I win. Right? I loved it. I really loved it. And to this day, boxing is still the biggest passion of my life. Right. But through doing lots of fights in amateurs, I started to get headaches, like very, very strong headaches. And I can't remember I was swimming. I think I went swimming somewhere and it was hot or something, but the headaches were so bad that my head was buzzing a lot. So I went to hospital. And I was there for, I think, 2 days. I was there overnight, but then they discovered that's where I had a tumor in my head. And he said, you developed this tumor through microtraumas. That's what the doctor told me. And he was asking me if I had like a serious car accident. Did I fall as like when I was a kid? Did I have a serious fall or something? And I said, no, I do boxing. And he said, well, that you can't do any more boxing because that's the impact that's creating that tumor. The tumor was about the size of my thumb, just that, like my fingernail there. So we took the tumor out, and then I promised him never to do impact sports again. And then I was getting bored, getting lazy, and I thought, what do I do? Let's go into bodybuilding. Oh my God. So I went into bodybuilding, and I found that fun, and I did quite well. Bodybuilding was fun, but there's no rivalry, and rivalry is almost like the core reason why you take on a challenge. Right. Because bodybuilding, you're competing with somebody else, and the judge is looking at you, and it's all down to what his opinion is. Right. And I felt like that's not fair. Like you can't tell me that my calves aren't as good as his calves. I like my calves, but I still enjoy it. But it is a safe challenge that anybody can take on. It's just basically diet. But throughout all those injuries, and building gym businesses. I did a lot of fitness tech businesses. I used to do, like there's what's that? There's a very, P90X.
Yes.
This kind of like this video style workout where you follow the. I used to do a lot of those. Shaun T. Yes.
I used to.
T25.
Yes, I love the Shaun T.
Yes. Shaun T right now, he's like ripped. He's gone and he's doing bodybuilding competitions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to do a lot of different. I opened a lot of gym businesses, fitness businesses, but I want to be competitive because I thought that was me. That was my identity as a human being. I need to be like, I can't just be doing fitness businesses. I need to show what I'm doing. I got to put my money where my mouth is.
Right.
Right. And I thought that was more of an internal thing where I was more. It was more putting the pressure on myself, thinking like you're not. You can't say you're at that level, or you are in. You're allowed to be in this space as a business as a fitness professional unless you're competitive, right? It kind of so I wanted that validation, kind of for the business as well as for myself. So all those injuries, those were like the ones that I think affected me mentally the most. But throughout that time, I discovered red light therapy.
So before we speak about red light therapy, I know you said every injury you had affected you mentally. How? Did you go into like a depression?
Yeah.
Because everything you did that you loved, you got injured and you're like, shit, now I have to figure something else out.
And you're like, who am I? Who's the person that is looking at me in the mirror? I thought you were an aggressive competitor who was going to take over the world.
Right.
But you've got you're not doing that, or there's a chink in your armor.
Right.
So you're like, well, what do I do now? Do I go into do I become an accountant? No, I can't do that.
An accountant.
Like, it's like your identity gets questioned almost, right? I think that's with all fitness people. They whenever they get injured, they kind of like, especially fighters. I've known fighters, like a lot of fighters in the pro organizations, whether they be boxing, UFC, and whatnot. When they have an injury, you have to deal with the fact that you've perhaps been injured by the other opponent, right?
Right.
And then you also are like, well, is this for me? And if this isn't me, what do I do?
Right.
Like, what have I invested all my time and energy in? And I planted this flag saying, this is me, this is what I do. I'm a pro fighter, I'm a pro athlete. Mm-hmm. And then that kind of gets shaken. The universe is like, throws you a challenge at you. And you're like, well, what do I do now? Like, you look around at other people that are successful, right? And everyone's version of success is different. It's not like there's one definite version of success, but you compare yourself a lot. Like, did I make the wrong move? And in order for me to be successful, what do I do now? How do I pick myself back up? I think athletes get this a lot, especially during injury times.
Right.
Like there's famous fighters that have had their legs broken, and they've had to sort of, okay, that's going to be with me forever. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have that. I'm going to have to deal with that forever. That's always going to be a weak link, right?
Right.
So what is okay? If I'm not a fighter and I'm not making a lot of money, I can't provide for my family. What do I do now? Do I go into teaching? Am I a teacher? Am I a good coach? Like. And some fighters can't really make that transition. Most athletes can't make that.
Right.
So if you're sort of if you're a competitor, you need to win.
Right.
You need to win, because the only other option is like coaching, which I'm not saying it's a step down, but it's a different brain is needed.
Right.
I think people that coach or are passionate about teaching, they're inside them. They want to share.
Right.
They want to contribute. But if you're an athlete, you want to win.
Right.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes, and the injury just messes you all up.
Yeah.
Especially mentally. I know physically you're injured, but mentally I think is the most important portion of it, and how to get through that.
Yes. And
how did you get through your mental health every time you were injured?
Yeah, that's a good question. What did I do? I think you just I don't imagine that there's any other way to do it healthily, if that's a word. Than just taking it day to day. Right. And always just be around people that especially like for me, having my wife around for many years throughout like all these ups and downs, because she always says, it's okay, you're still great, you're still wonderful. Of course, it's good to hear that, but you have to just focus on listening it, because what you're listening to is the person inside in your head who's saying you're not enough, you're not good enough,
Right.
you're not worth it, right?
Right.
But you need to start trying to at least listen to little bits and pieces of other people, right?
Right.
Because if someone tells me, "Oh, you're fine, you're doing great, it's okay," it doesn't. That means nothing.
That means something because you don't
'Cause I don't feel
it.
Yeah.
Right. And our bodies are temple, right? Like that's what I always say. Like I know we get injured, it's frustrating. Like I'm an quote unquote athlete. I don't compete or anything, but I love to work out. I work out every day. And unfortunately I got injured and I had to have lower back surgery. And that
Lower back surgery.
Yeah.
What did you do? What surgery? How did you?
I got a disectomy, L4, L5.
Okay.
So somehow my nerve got intertwined with my disc down
I
there. So it was 2 years of literally going to physical therapy, epidural shots, like it was nonstop until the surgeon was like, there's nothing else we can do. Either you get paralyzed or you do the surgery. And I'm a Zumba instructor. I'm a Strong Nation instructor. Like I go to Orange Theory. I work out every day. And I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah.
So
surgery.
I was like, all right, let's do the surgery. And it messed me up a little bit mentally because I was like, fuck, like,
what do I do now?
Because that's my therapy. Who am I? I can't teach Zumba.
Yes.
I can, go to my space where I need it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those months were really challenging.
Yeah, and I guess if you look also at the side that it is good that you're affected by, it means that it means that you're good at what you do. It means that it counts for something.
Right.
If being an athlete or an educator or instructor or something wasn't that big of a deal, you probably wouldn't be very good at it. But because if you have a fall and it affects you, it means, okay, that was something I actually was very good at and I took it seriously, and I can definitely, sleep well at night knowing that the people I impacted were impacted.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
gotta I think that's how you can kind of get through ups and downs, is if you do take a back step and you look at the larger picture, and you sort of give yourself it's like giving yourselves little hacks.
Right.
You sort of hack if that was like this, then it would be this, and you can kind of talk yourself into feeling better and feeling positive.
Yeah, because if it's not, like, you'll be so messed up, but you have to tell yourself certain things. Be positive.
Yes.
I know, like, it's a tough time for you, your injury, etc., whatever you're going through, but if you don't be positive and just be negative about everything, you're never going to heal.
That's right. Yeah. It's like, when there's a relationship between a man and a woman, and the relationship that is in turmoil, and there's either one of the man or the woman, they do something bad, right? They maybe cheat or something,
right? And
then you can always say, like, if the universe didn't want me to be with that person, it wasn't meant to be. This is the universe working to create change,
right?
So even though I do want to be with him or her after the incident, it's not a good idea. This is the universe. You have to look at it that way. You can't, you have to look at it that way. I tell a lot of this to my family and friends because they always have bad things happen. And you have to just say, well, it's good that happened because it shows you this.
Right.
It made a decision happen.
Right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trust the process. Trust the universe.
Yeah.
So then Lumaflex was born.
So with red light therapy.
Yeah.
Was actually introduced to me by my wife. She's Chinese.
Okay.
And I thought at the beginning it was like this feng shui medicine. And she was very insistent that I use it for my injuries, but I was sort of very blasé about it. And I said, okay, just to make her happy. But the device that she had me use, it was like a very, I don't have one here in the office, but it was a very large, ugly, cumbersome lamp. It didn't look by any means like something that you would even allow into your home. It looked so ugly. It looked like something Batman would have in his cave to torture, villains or something.
Right.
But it had a very large red bulb that would go onto the affected area, and it would heat up very hot. It was old technology, so there was a very strong heat element to it, which meant like it would even very sore to touch it. If the bulb was too close to the skin, it would start to heat up. You'd have to move away.
Okay.
But after a week of using this, especially on my knee. It was where my knee I started. It started to heal, and the way that I knew that I was getting healed was I would be sitting in a seated position and it didn't hurt. So after a week, I was able to sit down and I was like, oh, but of course my brain wasn't like, oh my God, this red light therapy, it's so wonderful, it's so great. It's sort of, I'm carrying on my day, I'm doing my thing, and I'm just sort of like, oh, that's strange. And I'm not thinking too much about it. But after 2 weeks, it was like 2 to 3 weeks, I stopped using the lamp, and I gave it to like her grandfather. But then just going about my day and realizing that I didn't have this pain, especially like in situations like when I was in a plane and I had to take a flight, that was normally, and when I didn't have that, I was thinking like, where did that pain go? Like I remember having it, because when you get used to pain on your body, it happens all the time. You get so used to it that when it goes, it takes a while for you to remember, right? Because you're just going about your day. It's by no means like something it's not a new thing. Right. So therefore, it's kind of like when it goes, it's hard to even remember you had it.
Right.
So I started to realize like this is normally a very hard sort of painful thing that I would have to experience by sitting on being on a chair. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, oh, it was that device. So I would look into it. I would watch some YouTube videos, and I started getting I got fully on to the light train, as I call it. And learning more and more about red light therapy and all the stuff that it does got me really interested, and not just to understand more about the technology, but to build something that was more tailored to me, to an athlete, something that was easy, portable, easily accessible, durable, use on the go. And that was the birth of Lumaflex, which is right now, in my opinion, and I believe it's an opinion shared by everyone, that it is the world's #1 portable red light therapy device, because it's a silicone panel, which it means that it's very hygienic to use. You can clean it, and it's flexible. Flexibility is very important with red light therapy because it allows the device to mold to joints and muscles. Because light travels in a straight line, and if you're getting treatment to an area, and if it's away from your body, your light is reflecting, it's repelling, right? You're not maximizing the amount of treatment. However, if you're putting it on your skin and you're wrapping it around, you're maximizing that treatment to that pain area, to that sore area. So it's flexible, it's durable, it's portable, and this one here is the essential, but I don't have the other one I've got is the Body Pro, which is fully waterproof.
Oh.
So the Body Pro, it's exactly the same, but the battery detaches and there's a spare battery that comes along with it.
Oh.
So the idea was to create something that was very, very battle tested for the pro athlete, or perhaps for someone that's in the military who wants to have a device in their bag and to be able to aim at the pain. Whether they have a sore knee, shin splints, right? They're dealing with the back issue like yourself. So that's what Lumaflex is all about.
How long do you leave this on for? So
inside the battery, there's a 10-minute timer. So we recommend 10-minute treatments. But the thing about light is from the sun. Red and infrared light, the best time of the day to get it is during sunrise and sunset. I was up this morning here in Miami. I've got a nice view of the water and I watched the sunrise. That's red and infrared light. Right. Later throughout the day, there's more harmful rays of light. Right. There's these rays of light do cannibalize our cells. But red and infrared light, pure red and infrared light, is available already at sunrise and sunset. So we have the LEDs here. The nanometers of those lights are programmed into that LED. So the amount of red and infrared light you get from this device is much higher than you get from sunrise, sunset. It's a very focused, high dose that we get. But that's where we get it, and that's why our bodies react to it, because it's penetrating the skin and it's activating the mitochondria in our cells. We're made up of billions of cells, and the engine of the cell, the mitochondria, needs energy to function, to do its job. So that's giving energy to the mitochondria to allow the cell to do its job. So the light doesn't heal you. The light gives your cells energy to repair and heal themselves.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, we do so much, when you work out so much, you're always sore or you're always hurting. So like something on the go, be like, okay, like boom, like even
That's
for
right.
my back, like I'll just like put it there and be like, all right.
That's right.
Yeah.
I wanted something that was what was like the therabody of red light devices.
Right.
Therabody allowed massage to be in everyone's pocket, in everyone's bag, use on the go.
Right.
To be able to just do a massage here, or do your joints pre-workout, post-workout, during the day, while you're sitting at your desk. And that's what we need for red light therapy. You want to be able to do something on the go. Everyone asks me if I can build a larger device. But I was like, yeah, but everyone's doing larger devices. I want to do the portable devices.
Right.
So the surface area of this is large enough, has a large enough surface area to address the number one pain in America, which is the lower back.
Okay.
That's why with your surgery, it's the number one pain in all of America. More people go into a hospital saying, I have pain in my lower back than any other pain on the planet. Right? So there's a large enough surface area to address that number one pain, but still it's not too big to where I lose portability. So the size of it, as you can see here, it can fit into the side pocket of a Marine, for example.
Right.
They have those side pockets.
Yeah.
They put things. That's what it can fit.
Right.
So portability is really important for me, because the vision of mainstreaming red light therapy is really where we're going to see some change in the world, where we're going to see the world becoming better with natural, non-invasive means of treatment, where people are not using drugs. They're not using, well, for you, I mean, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not saying you shouldn't have done surgery, but there's a lot that light can do to prevent surgery. And a lot of people go to surgery, or they go to pain medication, which goes down a very dark path, when they should at least try light therapy.
To be honest, I had no idea there was light therapy at the time. So if I did, I probably would have reached out to you, be like, send me everything you have, and then go from there. Because I'm not into like drugs and all that. I'm very like natural, holistic type of person. So like this is amazing that you have this, because it's natural.
That's right.
And it can cure you. Yeah,
and the tough part is showing like the efficacy of it, right? So this is FDA class 2.
Okay.
So it has medical clearance.
Okay.
In most countries in the world now, I think other than some very India, Canada, Australia, I think even China, I have like the FDA. But still it's very new, and people it's hard for them to invest in their time into trying it.
Right.
But when so you may have like, it's like, doing door-to-door sales. It's like, no. And then the one person that you knock on the door is like, oh my God, this saved my life.
Right.
And then you're like, wow, I'm motivated to knock on another 10 doors, right? That's kind of how it is right now with everyone in photobiomodulation who's doing devices. There's a lot of people saying, oh, is this pseudoscience? Like, I think my dad tried it, but it didn't work. And is this a gimmick? Is this a trend? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm talking to large retail, they want to know, like, because if they're bringing a product in, they want to know, like, is this a product that's going to stand the test of time? Or is it another, like, the Abtronic, where that was a trend. It kind of died and it's gone. So it's showing sort of not just the testimonials of people that have been miraculously healed with red light therapy, but also showing like all the FDA, all the scientific studies, all the and where it's now being tested, in for cancer and brain diseases, where people are now applying this technology, they're applying this treatment, is game changing. Right. It could potentially cure a lot of terminal diseases, right? So and just sort of educating the audience, educating the public is what we're all trying to do, to raise the awareness. Because then when you think, okay, this should work, then it's down to just investing the time into it. I know when you have like a massage, like a Theragun, you feel your brain can connect, and that feels good. Oh, that feels wonderful. When you have a massage, there's a very instant feeling that you can buy into.
Right.
Oh, that feels great. It feels so great. Whereas light therapy, it's different to each person. Someone who's very healthy may have a very quick response. Someone who's more sedentary, who smokes, who's not hydrated, who drinks a lot, maybe will have a slower response because their cells have more work to do other than just to fix, a pain on your shoulder. They may say, there's a lot of, we need to fix a lot more before we can fix this pain.
That's really interesting.
But yeah, it's different to each person. The response rate of recovery, the pain levels of people, pain tolerance, it's all different to everyone.
Right.
And the only thing we can do as a photobiomodulation community, if you will, is keep talking about it and keep telling about testimonials of people that have been, have found it to work and miraculously, save them from pain.
Right. And it's red light right now. I feel like it's gonna blow up because you see more and more of it in the market right now.
Yes.
And I'm definitely gonna buy myself one.
Fantastic. Say no more.
Yes, because with training so much in lower back pain, sometimes the Theracon is not enough. Sometimes physical therapy just gets too expensive.
Yeah.
Especially in Miami, they don't take health insurances.
Really?
Not the ones that I go to.
Okay.
Chiropractors are not always the best.
Yes.
That's what I've been told. Like, be careful with chiropractors with your lower back.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to spend thousands of money on going to doctors and getting drugs when you could just get this device and it'll help you. But you just have to be patient with it. You can't be like, oh, tomorrow I'll feel like 1,000 times better. Like, it just, like you said, depends on your body.
That's right. Exactly right. And the thing also that where sort of the next phase of red light therapy that I want to educate everyone about is I push red light therapy as a pain management solution, because it helped me with my pain. So I had a pain story, right? And I found red light, and that story is expressed in this product. So when I talk about red light therapy, I talk about pain, and I think about red light therapy. How can we get more people to use red light therapy? Let's start curing pain. Let's start using it as for pain, right? Because that's what people will buy. Nobody wants pain, right? So that's what you'll buy. But it does other things. It does many. It helps you sleep. It helps with your anxiety. It helps your hair grow. Helps your testosterone. All of these things, right?
Right.
But where I see the game-changing effect to the world is when you talk about pain. But if you have no pain and you say, well, do I need red light therapy? That I always say, because I've been exposed to lots of light scientists, lots of doctors that have devoted their lives to light therapy, and for them, light takes the highest priority of what you need on a daily basis.
Right.
So for us, we as both having a strong fitness background, we need to hydrate, get water every day, eat healthy food, get proper sleep, get regular exercise. These are like our things we have to do every day, and we preach this, right? We tell everyone, hey, don't forget to hydrate. It's hot outside, but actually, what should come first is light. And because the power of light, if you understand it, you know how to use it. Right. It's cellular health, right? Right. So where I want to then push the conversation forward from pain management is using Lumaflex as your light vitamins. And just like you said, like in the future, it's getting traction. I believe in 3 years, everyone is going to have at least 3 devices in their home. It may be for beauty, maybe for pain, it may be a large device, but I think on that there'll be an average of 3 devices in every home, because we're just getting, it's becoming, well enough known, and guys like Gary Brecka, Andrew Herberman, or these neuroscientists and these practitioners, these functional medicine doctors, they're preaching it a lot, and it's getting a lot of traction. People are like, oh, I'll get it for my dog, or I'll get it for my grandma, right? And like, okay, I'll try it too. Right. But in the future, the awareness will be raised so much so that everyone will see it as a vitamin. So it'll be in your bag, and just like you need your multivitamins, you'll get your light, right? So you're on your desk. What I always tell people to do is with the essential, like that, you put it on your heart. Give your heart that light, right? After that, you do your neck, your spine. Oops, okay. Just drop down. Usually I put it like this.
Okay. And you wrap it?
Yeah. And I just use my clothes.
Okay.
I put it on my gut. Your gut is your second brain. And then, of course, I put it on my brain itself. So these areas of your body, this is for your overall well-being. This is an overall well-being outcome. Nothing to do with pain. You're
Right.
pain-free, but you wake up, you're drowsy, you're not motivated to work. You're like, oh, I've got a problem here, I've got a problem there, I've got a problem here. You'd be very surprised how you can get your brain working and put yourself into a positive state cellularly by giving yourself light.
So not just physically, but mentally.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because I feel like half of the people nowadays, like, they're fatigued, anxiety, they didn't sleep well.
That's right.
A lot of screen time.
That's right.
But
Lots of blue light.
help. Yes.
Lots of blue light.
That's a blue light, like sitting on a computer, for 8 hours for work, plus social media and your phone and all that. So I think this will be super beneficial for mental health as well.
That's right. Yeah. You should see the studies that show how mental health is supported just by regular exposure to red light. And not just red light, sunlight. Sunlight.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
My father, he's a good example of that, because he's had a lot of, he's kind of getting older, he's getting broken. He's not as young and snappy as he was. I remember him teaching me cricket. You know cricket?
Yes.
It's like India, Pakistan, England, Europe. Not many other countries get involved with it. But I remember him teaching me it, right? But as he's getting older, he's sort of losing his edge, you could say. And I push him every day just to go outside. And he has a Lumaflex for his pain, but I said, let's go further. Let's go out. Let's go for a walk. The amount of the benefit to your brain is just by doing a 10-minute walk outside first thing in the morning. It's huge. It's incredible.
You would not believe it, but I'm trying to get that into my routine. I always oversleep. But just to go outside and go for a walk.
Yes.
It's so beneficial.
Yes.
Like the fresh air, the sun.
It's so good in Miami.
Yes.
We're very good in Miami. We're good for this.
I try to go on a walk on the beach, but it never happens. The beach is right there.
That's it. That's where you do your grounding.
My grounding,
Your grounding. Best place is to get that grounding. I came because I had a few flights. I think I was from Singapore. I was flying from Singapore to Miami. Was it Singapore? Yeah, Singapore to Miami. And I think the flight was delayed, and I had like a layover in San Francisco for like 11 hours. But all that to say, it took me like 2 days to get back to Miami.
Jeez. And
I didn't sleep at all. Right. So I was majorly jet lagged. And the first thing I thought was, I just got to go outside and get sunlight. And I remember doing that and thinking, I never used to think this way. I never used to think like, oh, I'm jet lagged. I would just get a coffee, right? But when you're around, when you understand enough about light, you know when to use it. You know the hacks.
Yes.
And it's just being in the community, obviously at large, like going to a lot of these events, going to these biohacking conferences, to these big, these events where everyone gets together and they share like the latest technology, the latest studies and all of this. You just are aware of it now so much that it becomes natural. So going outside and getting my sunlight to deal with my jet lag, it's funny when you feel good and you're like, I don't know how I could tell this to someone. If they're like, oh, I'm like, go outside. They're like, nah, I don't buy that. You have to show them all the clinical research. You have to show them an Andrew Herberman reel or something. Yeah. Whereas for you, you get so much benefit from it that it's natural and you just keep going. Right. But I'm always thinking like, how can I package and relay the information down to people that don't know? It's
a challenge because so many people don't understand, like, just the environment itself is so important to us, but they just have that mindset like, no, that's crazy, that's bullshit. I'm like, it's scientifically proven that light in general is good for us. You don't just need pills and drugs all the time. Like, that's right. Go naturally, it works.
That's right. I think the truest expression of intelligence is when you're able to relay that intelligence, you're able to package it to the next person, to then package it to the next person. Right. I see that, when you meet a smart person, I was like, he's super smart. And I'm always like, okay, teach me. Right. And I'll tell you if you're smart, because if you can't teach me, you're useless. Maybe you're good in building something on the back end, but where you can have the most impact is if you teach, right?
Right.
This is in our whole history as a human race. We've
Right.
had people pass it down, right?
Right.
So that's what I always remind myself. Who am I talking to John, 15 years ago? Who am I talking? You try to talk to someone like, what would have got me to
Right.
click? Oh shit, that sounds really interesting. I'll get into that.
Right.
Or do you just throw a bunch of studies and scientific research like, oh, I'll get to this later. Like
Yeah.
I don't have time for this. It's easier if I just block this out and pretend it's not valuable
Right.
because it's too much to bite into. But if you give someone a little, bite-sized piece of information that they can
Right.
chew on, then it leads to something else.
Right.
But yeah, I'm always thinking that too. I have to think of this when I'm doing, presentations. What's the thing you can leave the audience with and say, try this one little thing today. Tell me how you feel.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
No harm, no foul.
Yeah.
Don't do any, I'm not pressuring you. That's, and I think in Miami, there was like a big event I did a couple months ago. And I was on stage with William Shatner.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is a great event we did. And William Shatner, do you know William Shatner? Star Trek?
Oh, yes.
Star
Okay.
Trek?
Yeah.
So he's 96 now.
Wow.
And William Shatner, I grew up on Star Trek.
Yeah.
I grew up because it was a Christian family. My parents were like, don't watch anything with swearing or with blood. No swearing, no blood. Now, if you watch the old Star Treks,
Yeah.
there's definitely no swearing.
Right.
Don't need to worry about that. But the fight scenes were like a phaser, and it's just like
Yeah.
there's no blood,
Right.
So my parents were like, it's okay. You don't watch any of those things. Just watch as much Star Trek as you want. So me and my brothers, we would veg out on Star Trek, and Kirk was my hero. He was
Right.
my hero, and I would dress up as him for Halloween, for my birthday, that was my outfit. And I met him in Miami here at an event, a big biohacking event, and he has arthritis. So his whole shoulder, he's in extreme pain, and it's kind of traveling down to his bicep. It's kind of he was like this on the.
Oh, wow.
He was like shaking on his chair, and a friend of mine came and was like, John, William Shatner, he wants you to come. And I was like, dude, what are you saying? Grab the Lumaflex, and I went in to go see him in the little VIP area, and he was like, I'm in extreme pain. And I was like, oh, here, I'll get you on the Lumaflex. So I put it here, I put it on, all the different areas of his body. And he said he felt 80% better after a treatment.
Wow.
That obviously meant a huge amount to me, to be able to be next to my childhood hero.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of in his later years. I'm the up and coming. And I was like, he passed on so much to me, right?
Right.
So it was nice to be able to give back. But I remember saying when we were on stage and we were talking about it together to the audience, I remember saying we have we're in a very informed audience here. We're in a little bubble.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a little bubble of people where we're all kind of like, oh
We
yeah, did you try that?
understand,
Yeah. Oh, I tried this. Or did you know about this? And we all kind of know, and we're all sort of feeding each other's intelligence, which is wonderful. It's good. But we have to think about what's out there. Who's out there? Where's the guy
consumers.
who wakes up and has a Coca-Cola, goes to work, never gets grounded, hates his life, is dealing with a divorce or dealing with his kids hating him. He's staring at the computer all day. And how does he finish his days? He slams a beer and watches some crap on TV. How are we going to help him to see the sun, right? To see the sunlight, to get out and to fully sort of maximize what he can be as a human. So I remember saying just keep that in mind, because that's the masses. Those are
Right.
the people we're trying to help.
Exactly.
But yeah, I know I'm rambling now.
Now it's I was supposed to write that, but
Yeah.
it's interesting because that's that's who you're trying to market, right? It's these people that hate life. How are you going to convince them? Like, hey, go outside or do a Lumaflex and you'll feel better,
Yes.
But that's pretty cool that you guys have this whole technology right now. Like I said, I think it's gonna blow up fairly soon.
Yes.
So get your Lumaflex today. I will link the website and your Instagram and anything. If you have any questions for John, he's very humble. So
I have still so much to learn.
yes, but like you're so educated on this, so I think people would benefit talking to you about it.
Hope so.
Yes.
I'll do my best.
To wrap this episode up, what I usually do is I always ask, my guests, do you have any advice or an inspirational quote you want to tell the listeners?
I had when I was sometime when I was young, I read a book about a Marine who was, and I don't know if this is a healthy mindset to have, but I remember there was the phrase "forward, always forward," and I found myself, going from boxing to bodybuilding and then going heavy into building this business. I find I say that to myself a lot. And I don't know, I'm not sure if it works for everyone, but it's always, sometimes you're with your team, you're with your colleague, or even with by yourself, and you're like, dang, how am I going to do this? And if you just say forward, always forward, I don't know, for me, it really works. That's like my let's get it phrase. But then I'm also always reminding myself to be appreciative of challenges, because it's written into our DNA to struggle. And right now, if you look at the world, there's a lot of this idea of like, I want fast money, I want the cars, I want the fame, I want all the bling, but I don't want to work for it. And then there's the side of the people that are preaching struggle and appreciate struggle, but they're kind of, I don't know, I don't think they're saying it in the right way to get people to be accept challenges, be hungry for challenges. They're always trying to sell you some course or get rich in 5 days, whatever. But I always say there's 3 levels. There's 3 levels. This is just my head. And again, I still have so much to learn, but this really helps me. Number 1, you have to accept struggle. Accept struggle in your life. Challenges, they come, accept it. That's the first level. Right. If something goes wrong in your business, you're given it, there's a challenge, it happens all the time. You have to accept it. This is the human experience. It's not supposed to be easy.
Right.
If it was easy, everyone would do it. Okay, and then level 2 is where you appreciate struggle. You appreciate it. You're thankful. Okay, thank you for thank the universe, thank God, thank whoever, but have a mindset of, I'm thankful for these struggles because I learn from it, and by learning from it, I overcome it. I get the feedback. I get that's what I think is one of the best feelings you can have as a human, is to be able to overcome and get the feeling of overcoming a challenge. Like you're climbing Mount Everest, you reach the top, you're like, wow, or you do a CrossFit workout, and when you finish, you're like, wow, that feeling is really good. It's healthy.
Right.
And then the final God mode level is where you understand struggle so much so, and I see this with some high-level business people, and we talked about it earlier about always wanting to work. It's where you look for struggle.
Right.
So you accept, appreciate, and then you look for struggle. Right. Because you understand the human experience so much so that you're like, no, forget the fancy cars and the beach houses, and being VIP, all of that. I don't need that. That's not what I want as a human. In my biology, what I need is I need a grind. I need to fight. I need the challenge. And you understand that by doing this, you become better as a human. You become more affluent. You become great, right? And whether that be greatness is different in every person's mind, but a pro athlete, is great.
Right.
The world heavyweight champion is great. Tom Brady is great, right? And they realize in order to be great, you can't just appreciate, you actually have to look for challenges. You have to make things hard.
Right.
You have to look for a challenge.
You have to. And that's how you learn in life too, by these challenges. I know sometimes you're like, oh no, I can't do this, but you know what? Always look forward. Look forward, and you'll overcome it. And if you're passionate about it, you will for sure overcome it.
That's it.
Yeah. So
people need to know that this is in our DNA. It's inside us. Right. It's not somebody telling you, oh, you should do it. Trust me. It's your body is telling you. You just need to listen.
Right. I feel like the generations after us don't have that in their DNA.
Yes. Yeah.
The Gen Z, Gen X, whatever.
That's right.
They're
they're on a different track,
oh my
right?
God, yeah, I'm like, seriously, like, you have to work for what you want. You can't just be an influencer, or you can't just have people do stuff for you.
Because
it's insane.
that's how you find true fulfillment.
Right.
It's nothing to do with me. I'm not
Right.
telling you do it, but trust me, you'll reach a point down the line where you'll be like, why am I not happy? Why do I have depression? Why am I so anxious? What's going on?
Right.
What is it? It's like, oh, I'm not giving my body the thing that it wants. My mental, physical, and emotional health is suffering because I don't have anything to bite into, to chew. Like, this is what I'm going to overcome today.
Right.
Oh, I did it. Then okay, great. Let's do the next thing. That's in all of us as humans.
Right. And
Yeah.
we get that adrenaline feeling once we have that, like,
Yeah.
with my podcast, like, I'm like full on,
That's right.
like, it's my day off, but you know what, it's my day off for my full-time, but not for my podcast, because this is what I love. Like,
Yes.
I always have to look for something. I can't just be home, like, not doing anything. Like, that's
right.
not in me.
Yeah, and you can always look back in the future when your podcast is huge, and you could say, it's always good to put yourself forward and be like, haha, I'm going to look back on this day and I'm going to laugh, because what's that called? Manifesting.
Yes.
You're manifesting
Yes.
the future.
Yes. We both are.
That's
You're
it.
manifesting with Lumaflex. I'm manifesting with my podcast.
That's it. Every day.
Every day. So thank you so much, John. I really appreciate that we were able to get, talk in person, which was a lot better than virtually.
Yeah, welcome to the office.
Yes, it's pretty cool, guys, out here. So get your Lumaflex. And thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Until the next one.
Adios.